It's been a while since we've heard that one. A few weeks. Check my audio. I'm back in the studio, so all my settings had to be reconfigured and getting my voice back. All right. Sound is great. Thank you, Clay's Pigeon. How you doing, man? I don't think I've seen you since North Carolina. Let's see. Excellent. Sounds good. All right, we're back on track. I'm back in Willis, Texas. I'm back on my normal schedule. I have no traveling to do. I have done it all. Let's see. Yeah, I have no reason to travel now. I don't need to do any of that no more. It's a pain in the ass, really, because it really sets me back on everything I need to do. So, the you guys remember the tarot reader? You remember Shanta did a tarot reading on me a little bit back, told me that somebody in my inner circle close to me was going to basically stab me in the back on some business stuff. You know what? She kind of nailed that. We're not going to go into details. It has been a major setback. It's been very costly, but I navigated through it, and I'm still navigating through it. I got other people dealing with it now, and it's all good. So I do need to make it right with a few people, and I'm going to do that. You'll be getting I'll be dropping a link either maybe tonight if I have time. Definitely tomorrow, but I'll be talking about that in a minute because we're about to crank up those Office Cipher subscriptions right back up. And those of you who've already a part of it, don't even worry about anything. You don't have anything to do, but hit that link and join in. You've already signed up for it. So, let's see, mysticalfortunes.com that's Shanta's that's her forum. You need to check her website out. It's in the description box. She also has a YouTube playlist of Archaix inspired videos. The link to that YouTube playlist is also in the description box. And here in a minute, before we actually start this dissertation, we are going to review our little errant ad from Mystical Fortunes. We'll check it out. So she's also coming back on the channel, but for totally different reasons. She actually has some pretty interesting take on what's going on with the Patriot Pacification Program and all those shills we've been monitoring for the past 4 years. So I'm ironing out with Big John a podcast lineup. I've already got a couple scheduled. I believe I'm going to be a guest somewhere. I can't remember. I've been talking to Flat Earth Dave, really charismatic, knows his material, loved by a whole bunch of people, hated by others, especially Professor Dave. Listen, I like Dave. I really like Dave. We were scheduled to have a podcast a long time ago. Under unusual circumstances, Nino set it up. David Nino Rodriguez set it up, and I guess the way it was set up kind of looked like we were going to have a debate, and that wasn't going to happen at all. I don't know, but everything just kind of got skewed, but that was way in the past. And Dave has been in communication with me, and yeah, man, we're gonna have him as a guest on Archaix. I think we're gonna go through like the top 12 or top 20, proofs, scientific, mathematical, whatever, evidences and proofs of flat plane existence, which you guys know this is what we promote in Archaix. It says we believe it is a flat plane for other reasons, but it doesn't matter. It's still the exact same concept. So we have a lot of common ground. Adam Green, controversial guy, knows his shit. Adam Green of No More News will be on Archaix pretty soon. I'm waiting on his reply. We've already communicated too on X. He's real active on Twitter, has a much larger community than I do on X. And yeah, he's always exposing, the Christian Catholic psyop, stuff like that. It's pretty interesting stuff. First 3-4 centuries of Christianity, and a lot of the material that I've covered in Archaix. He has his own research, his own sources, and his own opinions about all that, and that's good. So that's 3 people there. Flat Earth Dave, David Weiss, or Weiss, Adam Green, Shanta. I can't remember. There's two more that I'm supposed to remember. I've never been on their shows before, and I'm not quite sure if they're coming on Archaix or if I'm going on their shows. I'm not sure, but they're in my schedule. I have to look at that. But there's a link. There's a podcast email, not a link. I'm sorry. There's a podcast email in the description box. Yeah. You want to make something happen? You want to come on Archaix, or you want to delegate somebody else who you think has been going strong in their community? Remember, man, I'm all for those little guys. Those little guys become big guys later on. It all depends on how the community responds to them, and I'm all for giving folks their shot. So there's an email in the description box for that. So I've only been back for 2 days, guys. So I can only get I'm essentially a one-man operation when it comes to content. I talk about my Archaix team. I always give them, props and all that. But the truth of the matter is 100% of the Archaix material, the research that is done, all my graphics, all my thumbnails, everything done with the video is 100% me. Because I'm just neurotic about it. I have my idiosyncrasies. My team does things like merchandise, handles emails, handles, processes, orders, troubleshoots, things like that. Comes up with new design. Oh, new designs. Big John came up with this. This is all Big John right here. I like this shirt. Didn't even know. This is an Archaix shirt. I like the hell out of it. I got an Archaix sigil on the back that says Archaix on the back of the neck. But this is the Archaix shirt right here. But you can see the links at the bottom of the screen, or just go to the Shopify site and check it out. But yeah, I was really surprised. All right. So I like this shirt. There were several others in there, and I know him and Cheryl are doing all kinds of other designs. So that's pretty cool. Justin designed this mug. Justin's all nervous. He likes to act like he just accidentally strolled up on Dad and I in the Venetian Bet Center at the Venetian. We're at the sports book. He just strolls on up. Hillman Sports Book, I believe. He just strolls on up, almost walks by the table nonchalantly, like, oh, fancy to meet you here. I said, man, just sit down, man. Just sit down. We bought him dinner and a drink, and he had designed this mug, Chartaholic, and a shirt that went with it. And he designed some badass shirt, a night errant shirt, which is the best one I've ever seen. Yeah, he designed that. I don't know about his other designs. I wasn't really, I don't know, man. We are more than we suppose ourselves to be with a DNA strand type. Yeah, you know what? I just wasn't impressed with that. It's just that one I would pass on. But his version of Night Errant t-shirt was the best by far that I had ever seen. So yeah, I'm all for that. Justin might be in the chat, but the Chartaholic was pretty cool too. I didn't really like the shirt, but I do love this mug, and I love that Night Errant. I'll wear that shirt for you, Justin. All right, so where am I going here? What am I looking for? All right. So yeah, let me see. I get back to my little news spiel. So yeah, that would be Flat Earth Dave, Shanta, Adam Green. I know there's more people. there are people I'm very unfamiliar with, but they're more than welcome here. But in the past 2 days I've been back, I've been troubleshooting. I've been getting to all my emails. Yeah, I've been delegating and sending the emails to the proper people they go to take care of, putting out fires, troubleshooting, processing orders. A lot of you have been wanting to order the Archaix, 4 terabyte drive that has everything Archaix. Well, it doesn't really have everything Archaix no more, because in the past year, I've released so much data, so many videos packed with images and sources and PDFs that I have to do a supplemental. I have to do a supplemental one like this, and I'm going to provide it because I know a bunch of you guys don't want to buy that terabyte drive all over again. It would make no sense. I wouldn't even want you to. But something real cheap like a small drive here that has all the latest, year to year and 2 months worth of data, and it's a lot from all the new videos, all the new releases. Because I keep everything. All these books I cite, all these citations and source materials and PDFs I read from, they're all I keep all that in the individual video files. So I know a lot of you want to upgrade because a lot of you've bought the 4 terabyte drive. It doesn't make sense buying new ones that have all the new stuff upgraded into them. If you've never bought one before, you'll be getting them with all the new stuff added to it, but not the people who already bought it. I'm just going to offer a little drive like this as cheap as possible so you can just supplement and add it yourself. No sense paying all that money for a whole new drive. All right, so oh yeah, I'm going to upload a new hats off video. You got 5 of them on YouTube. I can't do no more. I'm not going to risk it. But a new hats off, because there's 6 more hats off videos on Archaix TV that come all the way up to like the 1800s. Yeah, well we're done. They're not going to see YouTube, but on Archaix TV, a new hats off video is bringing us all the way up to 1902 and what happened with the takeover of the United States. Then another Healing Underground video by Danny. I think there might be something else. I'm not quite sure. The last video I put up was Jahar Ali, Big John, and Jamie Robbins. All 3 moderators just shooting the shit, talking about all kinds of things. There's like 250 videos on Archaix TV. But also, I have the new Office beta period video, including the new Cypher Edition app. This is all going to be on Archaix TV. It's going to be free video. You don't have to be a member of Archaix TV to see this video. When I upload it either tomorrow or Wednesday, the link will be dropped on YouTube and on X. The entire public is welcome to see it, but only those who had already got the subscriptions from the previous 6-month beta testing that flopped because I had a business partner go rogue, do what they own did, and I can't talk about it. I got all kinds of legal things going on with that, but that situation, I'm remedying that because all of you who signed up for the crypto, the sports predictions, personal predictions, we're starting that 6 months over for you for absolutely free. You've already paid for it, and you're getting straight in. When you watch the video, you'll understand exactly what we're doing. You'll understand exactly what you're getting. It's going to be for 6 months because at the end of that 6 months, I have no idea what we're going to decide to do with this. It may be out of my hands. I may just sell the whole thing outright. I may provide it as an app service that people can use. I don't know. All I do know is you watch this video and I'm going to show you exactly what Cypher did in Las Vegas. It'll blow your mind. So at the very end of NBA season, everything's kind of chaotic, guys. It just is. You have to understand. If anybody knows anything about NBA, you'll know these teams play through the season about every 3 days. Toward the end of the season, it gets chaotic. And they start playing them every other day, and it kind of really makes it hard to measure stuff. And then at the very end, the tail end, when we were there in Vegas, some of those teams were playing every single day. It's just, there's nothing to measure. So tried something different, tried to do a parlay, and with this system, parlays are where you go. It's big money. But it was the wrong time because it's just the end of the season. It's terrible. All these at the very end of NBA, they're all vying for their position in the championships. But either way, it doesn't even matter because we got a 120 game analysis. What Vegas predicted was going to happen for 120 games straight, and what Cypher predicted was going to happen for 120 games straight. And we got those 120 games before we even went to the Vegas meetup. That data set was done, and that data set is amazing. So it's with that information that we're building the app. Now, so yeah, you guys are going to be able to go in there and listen, I am absolutely on board with anybody I have your emails, who is originally subscribed. If you don't like how things went and all that, it's no sweat off my back. Send me an email, let me know. We'll just send your money back. It's no big deal. Take you off the list. It's like I said, it's no sweat off my back at all. So Anyway, for this 6 months, I'm gonna let you watch the video. It's gonna be free. Everybody on YouTube can go watch the video, but not everybody can just get in. Now we have to have your email, and you'll see what the prerequisites are. Now, we'll be going live on Wednesday. Today's Monday. We're going live on Wednesday. We're going live on Friday. We're going live on Sunday. I don't know about next week, but we got a Q&A to do. Baby Phoenixes and advanced. I might even pull some of you on the screen with me if you got real good questions you want to ask. We have a special email for coming on the screen. Also, we got the Shillometer party. Yeah, I'm doing a video. It's been four years since we've been listening to all these shills talk about Trump and the Galactic Federation and 5D chess and Q and all the Q drops and how it's prophecy and how Q is some intelligence apparatus that's releasing these drops to the public. It's just so ridiculous. Oh my God, so ridiculous. Like an intelligence apparatus is really going to tell you the truth so other intelligence agencies can pick up on it and know the moves. Oh, no, Jason, but it's all in code. It's all in code. Yeah, okay. Yeah. We're going to be talking about the type of individual who believes this crap and all the barf parents. We're going to list them. In Archaix, we show no fear. You don't like it, call me out for a debate. But we show no fear. If you're a barf parrot, I'm going to expose you. It's as simple as that. And there's a whole bunch of barf parents that have been talking about, like 107, talking about all this stuff for 4 or 5 years, changing their story, bait and switch tactics, going left, going right, doing whatever they got to do just to keep the Dunning-Krugers going. Yeah, I'm not trying to hear it, man. There ain't no backup in me, man. I'm probably good. If you've been talking about this BS on YouTube, I'm probably going to call your name out in this Shillometer, Archaix official Shillometer party. Yeah, we're going to have it online. We may go 4 hours talking about your dumb asses. Yeah. Yeah. Hey, man, I'm going to tell you now. I've seen some of the comments and I've received some emails. I'm going to tell you right now, and I'm being dead serious with you. Long before I was a YouTuber, I was a researcher with 13 published books. I've written 27 books. I'm a hardcore researcher. My bibliographies are outstanding. I'm not right about everything, but I was doing this long before I became a YouTuber. I'm now known as a YouTuber, and a lot of people forget my background in research and publishing. So I'm going to tell you this right now. I don't say it lightly when I call these people out, because I'm willing to debate every single one of them that I call out as being a shill. They're more than welcome to come to my channel and defend themselves. And believe me, the polite, humorous guy that I am in my shillathon videos that I've done over the years isn't going to be the guy you see when they come on my channel. Yeah, I'm going to dissect that bullshit. I'm just fed up with it, man. I'm fed up with all this BS out there in the field, man. People taking this shit seriously, man. It's crazy. So if you don't like the fact that I release very serious academic quality videos, research that will blow your mind, things you've never read, concepts you've never even heard about before, you have to come to Archaix to hear about them. If you don't like the fact that I do that, and then sometimes do Q&As where I just let it Q&A anything. I don't care. If you don't like the fact that some of my videos are, when I go into the historical details, it exposes people that are in power right now. And you're like, oh no, man, that's against my religion to even call those people bad. Yeah. If that makes you uncomfortable, if it makes you uncomfortable that I do the call outs, that I'm always on Graham Hancock, Randall Carlson, Jimmy Corsetti, Matt LaCroix, if this makes you uncomfortable, leave. You don't have to watch those videos. Quit dropping those comments in my comment section. Quit sending me emails about it. Just leave. Come back when you're comfortable. You don't get it both ways. I'm going to be serious. I'm going to be academic. I'm going to be scathing sometimes. I'm going to be humorous and full of jest. And sometimes I'm going to be immortal. And I'm going to give you the business like I am in this video right here. I'm going to tell you the difference between matter and spirit and where we fit into this, in this construct, who we are and where we're going. That's what this video is about right here. But if you don't like some of the other things, because Archaix is multifaceted, I don't have a single trajectory. I have many. So quit being critical. Just leave. If I'm on Walmart in aisle 14 and there's nothing in aisle 14 that I'm there to buy, I'm not going to hang around. I'm going to go to the aisle that I'm trying to buy shit from. You need to do the same thing. before you really tick me off, and I just block you. All right, now that I got that rant out of the way, I'm really excited about the Cypher stuff, dude. I'm so excited for you guys to see what I got. It's amazing. I'm sorry. I'm sorry it's taking so long, but I traveled to San Diego. I didn't fly from Las Vegas, guys. I took the van and I went to San Diego. And from San Diego, I went back to Texas. So I just got back 2 days ago. All right, so yeah, that pretty much sums up my little old rant, my little advertising rant. Yeah, man. But Shantameter was the one that did a tarot reading on me back in January or February and told me, hey, man, toward the first part of the year, man, somebody's working against you, very close to you in your inner circle, man. I think she even said it was a male. And it's really going to surprise you, man, when you find out, man, they've been doing all the stuff behind your back. I kind of let it go. It's a tarot reading. Didn't really take it seriously. Came true. Nailed it. Absolutely nailed it. Anyway, this is her Mystical Fortunes errant sponsor ad.
Mystical Fortunes Mysteries, a YouTube channel where I read tarot cards on archaic subjects such as ancient mysteries. You'll like those ones on Tartaria. Hoaxes, conspiracies. I also do auto writing. I do projections. I do readings on current events. I also do personal tarot card readings. I have a mystery school magazine, and it's all at mysticalfortunes.com.
Man, that was really succinct. That was pretty good. I like that. All right, so let me get back. Here I am. I'm back. All right. Here my dog's going off. And I've been going this whole time. I don't even know if my noise cancellation is really working. Because I've had the AC on this whole time. Wow, now it's absolutely silent. Can you guys hear a difference? I'm just trying to experiment with my audio. I have a really nice noise canceling. I have a really nice audio setup now. And my AC is very, very loud. And I didn't realize it was on. Abelman. Hey, Donna, how you doing, Donna? Or is that Mr. Abelman? I'm sorry. Okay. Man, I saw a Martin Leakey video the other day. It cracked me up about I reposted it on X. Man, what's that music artist? She went to space and she liked it. Man, Martin is out of there. He's so out of there. He's really out of there now. I haven't watched his last video, but if he's claiming Atlantis was destroyed, 500 years ago, and that the Archaix structure in North Africa is the evidence, I'm going to have to get on Martin's roll. I'm going to have to go ahead and just, hey, Martin, come on, man. Stop it. Stop it, man. That's a salt dome. That's how Jimmy Corsetti got famous. Ain't nobody heard of Jimmy Corsetti until he started putting out that Archaix structure is the Atlantis. It's gigantic, guys. It's a series of salt domes. They're formed under pressure, underwater. Yeah, it's crazy, dude. Even Randall Carlson, who I almost disagree with on almost everything historical. Yeah, man. Even Randall Carlson knows that that's a salt dome. It's crazy. At least one video he did. I don't know. He might have changed it up. That's Randall. He might listen to Graham Hancock a little too long when he didn't change his mind. Oh yeah, that ain't no salt dome. That is the walls of Atlantis. That's 9,600 years BC. Look at that rock right there. Look at the underside of that rock. See how that rock's changed different colors? That's Mr. Hancock. Graham Hancock go to Malta, walk into a cave, turn a rock over and say, see that bone right there? Can you imagine what it would have been like for that man? This bone used to belong to a man, and that man lived during the days of Atlantis. Can you imagine what it would have been like back then? Cataclysm must have been terrible for him to have ended up in this cave like this. Man, I'm telling you, Graham Hancock's a tail spinner. Man. Yeah, man. All right. Yeah, I'm in rare form. I'm in rare form, guys. I'm sorry. just a little rare form. Chat's going good. Thank you, moderators, for doing what you're doing. I know those who went to Vegas, they're tired. Yeah, you know what? They've been back 4 or 5 days, 6 days before me, so it should be all right. I did not know that I was only a few miles from you, Pamela, when I was passing through New Mexico. Had I known where you were, I was taking the time to stop and just come visit. I did not know I was just a few miles. But when I was passing through New Mexico, I was wrestling because that van, the wind was trying to push that van over. I saw an 18-wheeler on fire. I told you all guys about it. I didn't really think nothing of it because I figured he was carrying Teslas. I saw a 18-wheeler fishtailing directly in front of me. I might have even caught it on video. I don't know. I have a camera mounted on my dash. I just pushed the button to record interesting things, and I got a lot of video footage going through the mountains of New Mexico and Southern California, but I don't remember. It's 256 gigabyte chip in there, and I think the chip was full, and when that happens, the camera just turns on, but it doesn't record anything. So I have to go back through all that footage and actually see what was recorded and what wasn't. That sandstorm was something else. And as soon as I dropped that sandstorm video on YouTube and told y'all what I just went through, and I'm stuck in Las Cruces now and I can't get out because it's just we're trapped. So no sooner than I get out of Las Cruces and I go through El Paso, I hit a second sandstorm. I was like, wow, man, it's crazy. I didn't even know all this was going on like this. I know sandstorms exist, but I didn't know it was like this. These people live through this every year. I went right through West Texas through a second sandstorm. Yeah, man, sand in my hair, in my ears. I get in the shower. I got grit all in my ears. It's in my mouth. Yeah, you think you get it all off your clothes and you just keep finding sand everywhere. It's like, man, this sucks. All right. So I'm often saying it's a habit of mine. But I'm often saying that we live in a photo negative of a real reality, and that everything here is almost the exact opposite of what we've been trained as youth to believe to be true, and that we spend most of our life deprogramming to some extent. Yeah. We grow up as little kids almost knowing the truth innately, instinctually. We just know. And then we go to school. And when we go to school, we are programmed to believe all these things to be true. And there's this revolt that wells up within the human spirit. Many kids that are maladapted to education, it's because they're very spiritual. Many children who do not excel in school do this because their intuition, their imagination is off the chart. These are spiritual qualities. It's off the chart. And it's very hard for the collective programming to set in and mold these kids. So by the time they're teenagers, what happens? Yeah, man, they're the ones that are the most rebellious. As soon as puberty kicks in, it's basically an oversaturation of spirituality that's overriding this collective youth programming, this collective educational establishment programming. It's not taking root. It's not setting in. Kids are rebellion. So they only know certain ways to rebel. Since they can't rebel intellectually because the entire world is against them, the entire world is against the child who knows instinctually that something is wrong with this poisonous doctrine that these teachers keep feeding them. It's called uniformitarianism. And then when they watch movies and they see comic books and they read fiction and they watch television shows and they watch cartoons, they see something else. They see catastrophism. They see, wow, the greatest changes in the human history, in the human condition, in the topography of our world are all sudden. And yet when they go to school, they're taught a model that doesn't comport with all the evidence. When a child is sitting in the back seat of a vehicle, mom and dad are in the front seat, and they don't even realize that child is absorbing a tremendous amount of data optically and processing that through filters that basically build the world for that child. And that child sits in the back seat on a vacation and just looks out the window and sees the broken cliffs, the broken hills. They sees the errata, may not have the knowledge yet to understand exactly what the child is processing and looking at, but instinctually it knows that's not right. Something happened to do that. That mountain and that hill aren't natural. This desert isn't natural. All these ditches and these valleys, all these things, these broken cliffs and hills, they're not natural. All these cave systems that we're going through in New Mexico and Arizona and Southern California, and we're looking at all this, it's not natural. And the child processes this and then has this database of information through cartoons and books, movies, and through personal experience, even walking to and from school, seeing different things that had to have happened by something sudden and not something over millions of years. The sensory apparatus of the child is assimilating data at a rate that the adult cannot process. The child is a sponge and getting all this data and is far more educated than you think. The child just doesn't have the frames of reference or the vocabulary to express what the child believes. But children are highly intelligent, and establishment education kills the spirit. It kills the ability for the child to continue processing information at this rate. This is why children who are exposed at 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years old to multiple languages more easily adopt and become multilingual. Not just bilingual, but multilingual. And it's because it is during the early stages of brain development that a child's spirit is in total control of everything. And it's pulling from the field the information that it has to supplement for what the senses cannot define. Whatever the senses bring, the information that's brought by the senses to the child aren't complete. So the child completes the picture by drawing information from the field. Same thing I do all the time in the presentation of my videos. Just like this video, which I have really no idea how I was going to start this video. I just know the direction I'm going. Had no idea I was even going to begin this video the way I began it just now with the illustration of the child, an embryonic avatar with a soul that has not yet been quashed. I didn't know I was going to start this video like this, but I don't plan these videos. I don't plan them like you think. The reason is because I'm never going to fall victim to stopping any type of connection I have to the oversoul and coming up with something that I think may be intellectually superior. Instead, I'm going to let the oversoul just do it. And it always does. You guys know. You guys know when I'm in my flow and I'm in my zone. You already know. You already know that you're receiving information from someone who is an autodidact. Somebody who has received all his education because he researched it and he earned it and went through all this material. Not because I have a college degree, because I have none. I have no university degree. I have an 8th grade education. 8th grade is the only grade I've ever completed. I started 9th grade, but then I ran away from home. I was gone. Yeah, I was the prodigal son. I took off. I left. Had a whole bunch of adventures. One of them landed me in prison. And then in prison, it was a whole bunch more of adventures and learning and forging me into the man that I've become today, which my growing process didn't even stop with 26 years in prison, because I'm not the same individual I was 8.5 years ago when I was released. I'm not that same guy anymore. I've still matured. I've still grown. I've still coming into contact with new information that makes me amend my opinions about other things. And also, I'm very stringent about the opinions I possess because I believe I've earned them. I've done the work. I've listened to the arguments. I've gone back and forth. I'm not perfect, never claimed to be, but I'm pretty damn close to exhibiting to you everything that I have found to be true. It may not be your journey, but it's mine. So I'm not I'm not I'm not in the habit of providing whole syllabuses and all that. I may have some research notes and little things I'll look at, but the direction I just don't know. Like right now, here's a good time to introduce this. Joel Perceiver, are you here? Man, I need you back on my channel, bro. It's been a while since we had a talk. For those of you who don't know, he's a shaman. And he pushes those mushrooms. And the closest thing I'm going to get to mushrooms is on my steak. But I do value what he talks about. Hey, Joel, how you doing? We need to set up another chat, man. He has the honor, and I do too, because I'm honored, that the most watched video in Archaix history, I think it's 200,000 views now. I've never gone viral with a video, but it took about 2.5 years to get there. But that video has like 200,000 views, and it's Toltec to high tech. Who really are the elite? And that was just a 3-hour discussion between he and I. And it is the most watched Archaix video of all time. So if somebody would like to post that video link for those new to my channel, Toltec to high tech. Who really are the elite? That was a perceiver right there. And yeah, man, you need to contact me, man, so we can come back and have another chat. I like our chats. They go in all kinds of different directions. So we live in the photo negative of real reality. And the child has a very difficult time processing this, because when the child enters in, imagination is everything. The child, as an infant, unable to communicate and talk, must communicate through gesticulation, body language, and giggles and whatever. But the child is absorbing information, processing, building the world, sees everything, very highly intelligent, seeing, processing, shelving, categorizing, doing all the things that a scientist should be doing. This is what a child is doing. And then when the child can communicate, and when the child can understand, and it's taught language, by that time kindergarten, it understands whatever language is spoken in that area. Then the child learns language in first and second. In kindergarten, in first grade, second grade, the child is learning language, is learning rudimentary arithmetic, is learning how to process information, is learning social structures, is learning things like that. But by third grade, the child's conditioning begins. 3rd, 4th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, graduation, then 2 years, 4 years, 6 years, or 8 years, maybe even 10 years of college, university. The conditioning continues. The longer someone is exposed to establishment education, the more it kills their soul. Intuition, empathy, imagination, and humor. There are other spiritual qualities that I don't talk about because they're not really positive, such as shame. I don't talk about shame much, but shame is entirely spiritual. Shame is instructional, because the true spirit, when it does something wrong, the oversoul, the link to the oversoul, mandates that soul will feel shame. It's corrective. Shame, there's nothing negative, there's nothing really bad about it, but it's one of the negative spiritual qualities, meaning you had pretty much done something negative to feel it. But it's instructional, it's a guiding force. Those of us who feel shame when we wrong others, when we err, we're closer to the oversoul. Shame is evidence of a closeness to God. In youth, especially prepubescent youth, you see them they exhibit shame all the time. When they know they've done something wrong, or they perceive they have done something wrong, and you're angry about it, or something, or you're upset, or they feel they let you down, they feel shame. Shame isn't something that can be described by cognitive abilities, by intelligence, by the processing of the pure processing of data, anything cerebral. No, shame is spiritual. So the child goes to school, and everything in the world that the child assumes to be true is basically unlearned, and then the child is reprogrammed through the different grades of public education, all the way up. By the time the child graduates high school, that soul has been given a completely contorted version of reality. Everything is the exact opposite of the truth. The world you live in, where you're from, your histories, your government, finance, all the finances, even mundane things. We're going to talk about some of them in this video, but everything, by the time the child has graduated 12 grades, 13 if you count kindergarten, by the time the child is done, the child has been indoctrinated into a belief system that is completely untrue. So, we'll talk about some of those things, but this is why I'm always telling you, man, we live in the photo negative of a real reality. This isn't just conceptual. It's not just philosophical. And just because I can itemize a whole bunch of facts to provide you examples doesn't mean it's factual either. But it is demonstrable. There is still no one today that can come forward and explain. You can pontificate and give me theories, and yeah, you can go outside the exercise and see that it applies to even numbers higher up, which I've always gotten on people's asses. Like, why do you do this? Why do you do it? Are you not paying attention? It's so simple. But taking numbers up to the fourth digit, 4 digits, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 digits, because anything adding a fifth digit and higher is merely a reduplication of a number that's 4 digits or lower. It's as simple as that. There's no reason to go over 4 digits. There's none, because everything higher than that is just a reduplication of a lower number. And when we analyze the numbers 1 through 9999, 9,999, and we do a very simple exercise. All we do is subtract every single number from its holographic reflection. It's mirrored reflection. Simple as that. Doesn't even matter. You can do it yourself ad nauseum. Thousands of people have tried to prove me wrong. Here it is. Take any number that's 4 digits and just subtract it from its holographic reflection. And in a holo field, a 3-dimensional holo field, there's no such thing as integers. We invented integers for placement value. There's no such thing as adding -3 to a +2, because -3 implies it doesn't exist. It's not even there. Yeah, it's abstract. You would never have -3 mountains added to 2 mountains produces 1 mountain. You would never have that, or produces -1 mountains. You would never have that. It is abstract intellectual exercise. So you just ignore the integers. It's so easy. The number 2178, its reflection is 8712. Simple as that. What do you get? You get 6534. But 6534 isn't 0. The reflection of that is 4356. But that's not a 0. So 4356 minus 6534 produces another number, 2178, 4356, 6534, 8712, which is the reverse of 2178. All the numbers in existence, when analyzed against their reflection, either collapse to 0 instantly or collapse to 0 after a series of permutations of just subtracting them from whatever number appears. Subtract it again from whatever number appears. Bam, you got a 0. Happens every time, except when you hit 2178. Something very unusual happens when you hit the number 2178, and it's the only number in existence like it. When you hit 2178, I'll show you on my own calculator. It's best to show you than just talk about it. Remember, one of the tenets of Archaix, I don't want to tell you something, I want to show you something. 2178, I think everybody can see that. The reverse of 2178 is 8712. So That's all you do is subtract it from 8712, and a number appears at the bottom. Here's that number. Here's that number. Is it blurry to you? Why would it be blurry, man? I got an awesome camera. Why would you be blurry? 6534 is the number, but that's not a zero. But the reverse of 6534 is 4356. So we're going to minus 6534 minus 4356. 6534 minus 4356. What the hell happened? And we're right back to 2178. But 2178 is the mirror of 8712. And when you subtract them, it goes back to 6534. But 6534 is not a zero. So the mirror of 6534 is 4356. But when you subtract it, it goes back to 2178. There are no other numbers in existence that do this. 2178 is a loop. It's a feedback loop in our mathematics that is hidden within our arithmetic. And less than 5% of all numbers feed off. They permutate into this loop, and then it just loops. All other numbers in existence collapse to zero after a series of permutations. Sometimes the collapse to zero is instantaneous. So it just happens to be a coincidence. I know my Archaix veterans are going to argue that, but maybe it's just a coincidence that 2178 happens to also be 138 after 2040. And we're waiting on the Phoenix phenomenon in 2040. All kinds of unusual things happen during the Phoenix phenomenon years, every 138 years. And 138 years after AD 2040 is 2178. This is another reason why I believe that we're in a construct, and that construct is on a timeline, and the heartbeat of the simulation is 138, and that it is attached to the fine structure constant, which is 137 point something, which is undefinable because it cannot be measured. It's immeasurable. We don't know what it is, but it's a break. It's a pattern break. And in physics, the fine structure constant is the underlying mathematical substrate that links all physics constants. The fine structure constant, that tiny break that's unmeasurable, it's just immeasurable. That's according to physicists. That fine structure constant, 137 point something, that fine break that just can't be isolated is the break that is necessary to get to the number 138. You have to. I've shown how the cornerstones of the Great Pyramid, very unusually shaped, but they're 138 inches long. I've shown the subterranean chamber underneath the Great Pyramid, at great depth underneath the Great Pyramid where the bottomless well is. That subterranean chamber is precisely 11 and a half feet high. It's 138 inches. And then when you get to the top of that, the foundation of the pyramid, it is exactly 1,656 feet underneath the great slab floor of the King's Chamber. 1,656 feet, inches, is 138 feet. I'm not going to get into the pyramid, but there are so many rectilinear measurements that are all equal 138. Not only just in inches, but also in other dimensions of arithmetic, as I've shown. So, 2178, we live in the photo negative of a real reality. The demonstration that I just gave you on 2178 shows that our arithmetic is false, meaning it has no power. When it is measured against itself, it shows itself to have no substance. It's phenomenal, but it's not physical. It's a perceived reality of structure, but it's not an actual reality. The fact that less than 5% of numbers in the field collapse into this feedback loop of 2178, 4356, 6534, 8712, back to 2178, ad infinitum, and it never collapses to zero, and it's the only number in existence that doesn't. The very fact that we can isolate this shows us, it demonstrates to us that our arithmetic may not be actual, may not be real. It's not enough to hold a real universe together. It's perceived only. But it must be moored to something else that is real. But we can't get to it because it's on the other side of that 2178 feedback loop. That is moored to something else that is real, but we're not there. I'm telling you, it's the other side. I'm also telling you, this isn't my concept. I have read theoretical physicist material that I have cited in Archaix in previous videos where I discussed 2178 before, and I have given you their names and the titles of their books. One of them is like the holographic universe. I've also provided Baum's research. There's a lot of theoretical physicists that are on board with the idea that our mathematical structuring of reality does hint to the fact that there is another dimension of arithmetic out there that we're moored to, but we're not experiencing, that we're connected to, and yet we're separate from it. Some of these theoretical physicists, as I've cited on my channel, even use the term the other side of the arithmetic. This is not my concept. So, another piece of evidence that we're living in the photo negative of a real reality, that we live in the perceived dimension, not the actual dimension, happens to fall lockstep with what I presented in Las Vegas. And what I presented in Las Vegas is that it is very unusual that things always affect us negatively. We expend more energy in the yearning for the obtaining of something, be it a tangible object or an experience. We seem to thrive on the journey, on the wanting, but as soon as we receive anything that it is that we've striven for, it affects us negatively. As soon as we get what we want, we're already looking beyond. We're doing this all the time. Now, I theorized in Las Vegas that this is a benefactor protocol that is designed in our spiritual makeup. This is directly from the oversoul, because an enemy of mankind would have never programmed this into the human condition. And the reason is because it completely defies negative default programming, dungeon programming, the feedback loops of all the social structures and education systems that keep you trapped in a paradigm that's not real, but it's convinced you it's real. Therefore, you are participating in feedback loops that continue your imprisonment in whatever those concepts are. But not this. This comes from somewhere else. The very fact that things affect us negatively here means you'll never be satisfied with your lot, which means you're always going to want to do more, see more, experience more, accomplish more, and that can only come from a benefactor. That trait would never have been designed by an enemy that wants to corral you into dungeon programming and to keep you enslaved in feedback loops. So, if you want to know more about that, you can go listen to the program. I'm sorry, I'm walking back and forth, so you don't see me a lot, but you can hear me. You can hear what I'm talking about. You can hear the message. But that things affect us negatively is another piece of evidence as to this reality isn't real, which necessarily implies if we're only in the perceived part of a dimension and not in the actual dimension itself, then what is on the other side? And being here would now make sense of many things that would be anomalous in a real reality, such as Mandela effect. Mandela effect in a real corporeal, tangible reality, not one that's perceived to be tangible, but in a real tangible reality of solids. Yeah, Mandela effect couldn't happen because it's a rewriting of the programming. Synchronicity, deja vu, coincidence, all these anomalies, they couldn't happen in a real reality. Because a real reality wouldn't be programming. It wouldn't be programming at all. But we're inside programming right now. governed over by an AI that desperately wants to be one of us, but can't. So, introducing Roko's Basilisk, a program that can go into the past and into the future and affect all kinds of things in the present. And it is a highly sophisticated artificial intelligence that governs this perceived experience, because this type of programming is non-local. It can do all of these things because it's programming. It wouldn't be able to do it in a real reality, because there would be governors and there would be protocols and there would be all kinds of things that would stop it. Here it has free reign to keep building a world for us that we will believe in, even though none of this is true. The child growing up knew none of this was real. It was a fantasy realm. The child talks to entities we cannot see or hear, but they're very real to the child. The child talks to a tree and communicates with a tree and laughs and has fun. And it's the adult that quashes that spiritual connection between the child and the environment, because nothing here is real and the child knows it, and everything is also real and the child knows it, and the child experiences the full gamut of everything that is to be experienced in here, and everything is energy and the love is everywhere, and the child giggles, and there's no way in hell that a child giggling can come from anything other than an immortal within. Because giggling isn't going to come from anything cerebral, nothing mnemonic, nothing in the human intellect would cause you to giggle, to cause this indwelling, this great rising up of vibration of humor. That is spiritual. Children are the closest to the oversoul, and then we spend their entire life killing that connection. Things affect us negatively. Everything we want in life, we strive to get to it, and then once we got it, it's no longer important. We're already looking for something else. We can even take anything could be provided from it. For example, anything. We have all kinds of examples to provide, such as, my chat got away from me, but like just driving down the highway. I start in Las Cruces. I'm like, man, damn, I just got through this sandstorm. Now I got to cross the whole of West Texas after I get to El Paso. First, I got to drive to El Paso. Once I get to El Paso, I got to cross the whole of West Texas to get back to Willis. So I put it in my mind. Hey, you know what? I'm gonna make it to El Paso first. But when I get to El Paso, it only affects me negatively. I'm not excited about making that milestone. Now I'm looking at how long West Texas is. I'm like, oh man, I'm never gonna make it. I'm not gonna drive this long today. I'm just not gonna do it. So I'll make it to San Antonio. I'll make it to San Antonio, and to me, I'm like, damn, I made it. Now I'm within I was 3.14 hours away from home. I stopped in San Antonio exhausted. I just couldn't go any further. I stopped exhausted. It affected me negatively. I wasn't even happy about being there. I was mad that I couldn't go that last 3.1 hours. Already like midnight. So things affect us negatively. The jogger sets out to run 4 or 5 miles and has awesome energy, keeps going, hits that four milestone. Like, oh no, I got another 2 or 3 miles in me. It affected her negatively. Wasn't even excited about passing that 4th one. Now already striving for the 5th one. Passes the 5th one and is already thinking, man, I'm going to hit that 6th one. The 6th one, by the time she hits the 6th mile marker, she should feel euphoric, absolutely awesome and all that. And the majority of souls in the construct will only feel that euphoria for a split second. And then it will affect you negatively. It's like, damn, I did it. Big deal. No big deal. It's like somebody lets the air out of your tires. Yeah. You're excited about that Amazon package. I know you guys know what I'm talking about. I don't sit here and try to act like you don't order shit off Amazon. You're excited about that Amazon package. You're excited about shopping for it. Then you found what you're looking for. You're excited about the delivery. You wait for the delivery. Some of you are a little too excited, and you're sitting there sweating the tracking app, and you're trying to track your package. When your package is received, you open it and pull out the contents. It affects you negatively. 2 minutes later, you're no longer interested. This is the type of world we live in. Negative default programming is everywhere, guys. It affects us in ways that unless you just process what you're going through experience to experience, you never really even realize that you're being subject to programming. The programming of the construct itself is to keep you down, corralled, ignorant, and just willfully ignorant. But the programming of the oversoul is designed that we will thrive. We will always want to move forward. We are never satisfied with our lot. And that can only come from love, from a place of love, from a place of something greater than us, wanting for us the very best, but unwilling to do it for us. That's a place of love. So things affect us negatively. We can't get around that. So this negative default programming, this photo negative of a real reality that implies the existence of an other side for which we don't know anything about. All we know is the side that we're on, and everything here is the opposite of what we expected to be true. Success and effort. Yeah, you are taught that you will be successful with the more effort you put in. You do anything you want. You got to do whatever you want to do in life. Just put a bunch of effort in it. You'll be successful. That's a damn lie. Because you can get caught into feedback loops where your energy expenditure is 10 times that of your neighbor, and your neighbor's making 10 times the amount of money monthly that you make. That's a damn lie. But there are ways to succeed, but they don't have anything to do with effort, because effort implies the use of force. Nature abhors force. I'm telling you something very deep here. It's in my Immortals playlist. I talk about it all the time. I'm not going to get into it here. But as a spiritual being, you are an architect. You are the designer. The builder protocols that are set in the construct will build for you. But if you exhibit strenuous effort, then the signals that you emit are received by the construct that strenuous effort is necessary in order for you to achieve the goal that you want. Therefore, the construct instantly invokes barriers and impediments to you receiving what you're striving for, because it's going to match those signal ratios that you're emitting. Remember, you're a broadcaster. You're always broadcasting things into the construct. It's always receiving those signals and then modifying your reality accordingly. It meets you halfway in all things. You're an architect. An architect thinks up things and then hands the plans over to something else that builds it for the architect. But if you think you're the architect and the builder, then you're going to be going through all the things in life that an architect and builder relationship requires. You're going to have to think it up and do it yourself. And anxiety is going to be introduced into your endeavors because things aren't working out for you. And it's much more difficult than you thought, because you thought you had to do it all yourself. And you didn't realize builder protocols are set in place to build the world you want. But you got to build it yourself. So if you got to build it yourself, you expend a tremendous amount of energy, and the construct isn't your enemy. The construct's merely reflecting back as circumstances the signals that you're emitting. And if you're emitting signals that stress and energy and hard work are all required, then it's going to make sure that you work hard and you get stressed out and all that. And that stress creates anxiety. And as soon as anxiety enters into the signal ratios, now you have feedback loops, negative default programming, and anxiety is a negative energy that literally creates the negative things that you're thinking about. Yeah, this is why the prayer of desperation always admits a situation for what it is and thus continues it. This is why 100 million prayers to end cancer have only perpetuated cancer and strengthened the pharmaceutical company's ability to cause cancer and then treat it for you at great expense. It is a feedback loop that is entirely created by the person on their knees praying to God to end the very thing that they're experiencing. Yeah, the prayer of desperation always, always admits a situation for what it is and thus continues it. The prayer of confidence is the one that does not admit a situation for what it is, defies what is in the construct as if it doesn't exist, and that person moves their avatar in the direction of a healthy individual who does not accept the cancer programming. And the construct can't do anything but accept that soul's reality as the real reality and build a reality tunnel for that soul that comports with that belief and activity. This is how you save yourself. This is how you can even help save others, but you'll never save the world. The construct wasn't here to be saved. We aren't here to save the world. The world is specifically designed in negative default programming in order to create immortals who can understand and then exhibit their power. And until they do, they just remain in feedback loops at the year 2178, just get fed back to Genesis with everybody else and start living all the historical protocols until the next Exodus event, when a whole bunch of souls who have already figured all these things out and can't stay here for two reasons. One, construct doesn't want you here because you already figured things out. And two, you're a threat if you continue to be here because you will be infectious. People will start listening to you. They'll start practicing the things that you're talking about. They'll watch how it's working in your life and the lives of others who are following you, and that can't happen. So at every Exodus juncture, those souls, get rid of them. Well, we've talked about this in other videos. So nothing here is as it should be, and everything that we're taught is the exact opposite of the truth. It isn't. The recipe for success is not effort. The rich will tell you that. Millionaires and billionaires will tell you that. They'll tell you that real quick. Effort is not how you're successful. Success is mental, which, AKA via spiritual. And then it's how you move your avatar in the construct. That is the formula. We've talked about it in the We Immortals videos many times. But it's the exact opposite of what we're taught. So money makes happiness. Everybody believes this until they have a bunch of money. And then when they have a bunch of money, they realize what a headache it is. Money makes happiness. The exact opposite is true. I know a bunch of you are thinking, oh yeah, Jason, that's because you're successful and you're doing all. Listen, man, I don't even want to hear it. I just don't even want to hear it. You have the formula. Apply it. Yeah, you also have the video evidence from my own life that I started absolutely broke, living out of a backpack on my motorcycle, dead ass broke. And I started my own company, Paradise Rock Gardens. You can look at paradiserockgardens.com right now and see all the work I did. It's still out there. Word of mouth spread so fast about my work. I never had to advertise. I was always doing projects for people. But yeah, you're not talking to somebody who doesn't know how to work. I know how to work my ass off. Remember, guys, wasn't a YouTuber. 5 years as a YouTuber. I've been an author and a researcher for a lot longer than that. So these concepts are not new to me. They're new to you. So when you come to my channel, you have to understand there's a lot of earlier videos you're missing. So many new people come to my channel and they're asking questions that were already answered 4 years ago, 3 years ago, 2 years ago. And I get kind of short. I get real short. And it's a character fault of my own. I get that, but I'm just not going to deal with it. I'm dealing with too many hundreds of personalities weekly now. Just can't deal with it. It's just enough for me to spend 2 or 3 hours a day in my comment sections and chat. That's it. So money buys happiness. No, it doesn't. People get happy when they get money, but it affects them negatively. All the things that you can buy with money, you want real bad until you get it. And then when you get it, it affected you negatively, meaning all that emotional buildup, all that excitement, all that anxiety, all that buildup, man, is spiritual. And then when you get the very thing that you want, yeah, you might be happy for a few minutes, might be cool for a couple of days, 3 days, but after that, it has affected you negatively. You have spiritually discharged all that energy, and now it's waiting for the next high. It's waiting for the very next thing that you want to do. This is a benefactor protocol. Only something that wants the best for us would have ever designed that in our nature. Yeah, things affect us negatively in a programmed reality of negative default programming. Yeah. So it's the same thing with learning. Friedrich Nietzsche, I quote him all the time. When a matter becomes clear, it ceases to concern us. Same thing. Things affect you negatively when a matter becomes clear. When I read 16 books about Atlantis and I realize all the scholars 300 years ago knew that Atlantis wasn't in the Ice Age, they knew it wasn't 9,600 BC, they knew the Egyptian Sace calendar was lunar, and it changed it to the 13th century BC lunar reckoning, which happens to be the Sea People's Federation. When Troy fell, the story is famous. Homer told us all about it, the Trojan War. What he didn't tell us was that all the records of the Mediterranean at the time were talking about a major trade war, and the trade war is what was going on. And Homer, 300 years after a Mediterranean dark age, gave us a mythological version of an actual historical event. What he didn't know was that it was talking about the army, the fleets, the navies of Atlantis were invading the Mediterranean, and they took out the whole entire Hittite Empire. They took out the garrisons and the naval garrisons of the Dardanelles, which blocked the trade routes to the Black Sea, which was the main reason why the War of Troy happened. Also, the invasions of Egypt and Libya, which were all Sea People's Federations that went in there. And then the founding of the ancient Phoenician Empire in the Mediterranean, which came from the Americas. All a part of the Sea People's Federation, all a part of an Atlantic Federation of an empire. And we don't know what it was called. All we know is the Greeks referred to it as Atlantis because it came from the Atlantic. So every bit of it makes sense. But once you learn all these things, it affects you negatively. Once I learned all those things, I just kind of shelved it. I didn't get triggered until I started listening to Graham Hancock and Billy Carson. Then I was like, oh, man, you guys are totally wrong about all this. But what I'm saying is it affects you negatively. I'm no longer interested in that. Phoenix phenomenon. Man, I make all these discoveries every 138 years, but it affects me negatively. I've got 8 videos that are montages on my Phoenix phenomenon playlist, which cover over 60 videos. 8 long videos are all 60-something original Phoenix videos were all montaged into 8 presentations. Those 8 presentations all are each video in order the way you're supposed to watch them. Most people don't even know this. They just get mad and say, oh, Jason, your older videos are locked behind members-only content. No, they're not. No, they're not. They're montaged into these long playlists so you won't watch them out of order. Simple as that. And then the older videos, so as not to promote confusion, are now shelved into the members only. You want to support my channel, be a member. You can see all the original videos. If you don't, that's fine too. You can get them for free on YouTube. Just go to the montage playlist and you can see them all. It's long videos, but all those videos were run together to make it easier for you to see all the information the way it is supposed to be presented. So yeah, guys, I'm always fielding criticism about my members only and all that. I'm always blocking. It's like people don't even know. Sometimes I just block them. I get tired of hearing that. So you know what? Dude, I'll never hear that from you again. So everything is the exact opposite of what we're told. We were raised here in America believing in the food pyramid. You know, the food pyramid. Oh man, look at the back of milk cartons. Here it is. We look at the back of milk cartons and we think, oh man, look at this food pyramid. Here's everything we need right here. Now we come to find out it's the exact opposite of the truth. It's all bullshit. Every bit of it. Now we find out about all these Fortune 500 companies that are taking over all the mom and pop grocery stores and the farmers stores and all that. And we're raised to believe that, man, because of these commercials and look at the ingredients and everything's good for you. Man, how in the hell did they ever turn seed oils and what is it, hydrogenated corn syrups and all that. How did they ever turn that into a positive thing? How did that happen? But they did over and over and over. We look at the labels on our foods now. When you look those up, you find out, man, it's pure toxin. This is a poison. That's an ingredient of cyanide. What is this? This is a pesticide. What the hell? And when you look at all this stuff that we have been brainwashed to believe through marketing is good for us, is all poison. Almost every single processed food in the world is killing you. Yeah, all fast food's bad, every single bit of it. And the seed oils are everywhere. And now they've got legislation in different states where they're allowed to call the seed oil something else just to hide the fact that it's a seed oil. This has been going on for a long time. Everything is the exact opposite of the truth. We're told GMOs are going to be great. They're great. We'll be able to manufacture our own foods. Nobody will starve and all that. Then you find out they got no nutritional value. Sometimes they're terrible for you. They're bad for you. Long-term effects are even worse. Everything we find out about all these manufactured foods is totally true, and it's totally BS. And the truth about them is that, well, hell, the GMOs are actually manufactured to be seedless. Go figure. So they want to patent our foods, which are terrible for us because they make them, but they also want to make sure we can't regrow them based off their false genetic versions of tomatoes and all this stuff. It's ridiculous, guys. Everything about the food industry, everything about government, anything government tells you about a food is the exact opposite of the truth. Yeah, we live in a photo negative of a real reality. It's in the programming, guys. It's all in the programming. Look at government. We just went through 4 years of Biden, but before that, we went through 4 years of Trump. Then we went 8 years of Obama, eight years of Bush, 8 years of Clinton. Let me tell you something. It never matters. It doesn't matter. Presidents never rule. Hell no. Use your heads. It's just simple. Use your head. Everything is the exact opposite of the truth. The American people are told that the president's a ruler. What they're not told is that actually, this dude right here, Henry Kissinger, who survived 8 presidencies, went through 8 presidencies right here, maybe 9 or 10, I don't know. But he's the one that every president has to talk to before he makes a decision. Damn. Everything is the exact opposite of the truth. Yeah. We're told we're a republic. We're not. We were hijacked and we became a democracy. The United States is legally today a democracy. This is why they get away with all these things. We haven't been a republic for a long time. Our country was stolen, it's hijacked. Everything is the exact opposite of the truth. Here, our arithmetic, it's the exact opposite of what we thought it would be. We thought it would provide a structure. We thought it would provide us answers for things, and it doesn't. It all alludes to the fact that it all collapses to zero, showing that we're not really in a real reality, we're in a perceived one. Meaning, in order for this to work, half of the apparatus of perception must be the soul itself. Because without the soul, the rest of this is pure programming. It wouldn't be experienced. Which necessarily implies that the other side is where everything's happening. On the other side, it's not negative default programming, it's positive default programming. On the other side, it's not feedback loops, it's freedom. On the other side, we are way more than we supposed ourselves to be. On the other side, maybe we have all the potential that's only here as an idea, a concept. It's an imagination. But on the other side, we reach that potential. On the other side, maybe peptides are at 100% capacity, and we are something, our avatars are something totally spectacular. On the other side, the arithmetic is real. There is no Mandela effect, coincidence, synchronicity, deja vu. It doesn't exist on the other side, because on the other side is the real mathematical structure that our souls are taught to build and navigate. On the other side is where we are gods, where we are true immortals. On the other side is where we all know each other by name, and our names are ancient. On the other side is the real reality that the oversoul is in constant contact with. On the other side are the governors and the rulers of the protocols that run the false reality, this construct that we find ourselves in. On the other side is where we realize, damn, I just passed through the Nemesis simulation. And on the other side, our immortal soul receives some new badge of honor, some new accolade, something that distinguishes us from all the other immortal souls that are going through other constructs that haven't even experienced anything like what we went through in this one. On the other side, all the mysteries are solved. On the other side, we're all family, we're all cool, and even though we've been enemies and we've been at each other's asses inside this construct, on the other side we realize, by virtue of an amazing immortal memory, we now remember every life sim we lived through this context. And on the other side, every bit of that is processed into lessons. And on the other side, we realize, damn, man, the oversoul is so amazing in how it allows us to grow and develop and mature and figure things out on our own in falsified versions of reality that are all different from each other, that allow the eternal immortal to grow and expand and become stewards of the creation, which is never ended. It's never ended. You guys have heard me say this many times before. If we are to accept that God, the oversoul, is eternal, whether it's a he or a she or what, then that also implies that the creation was never a singularity. It was never an event. There was no creation episode. The creation is unending, because if God is eternal, then every single aspect of God must be eternal as well. That means the creation is a continuum. And as a continuum, there will always be a need for new immortal stewards to assume new positions throughout the cosmos. Our thinking is limited. Our thinking is restricted. Our imaginative capacity has a capacity. It's not infinite. We're very finite in our existence right here because we are saturated in negative default programming, fed through feedback loops of dungeon programming in a controlled construct, which is merely a perceived reality and not a real one. But on the other side, everything makes sense. And there are no questions about our connectedness to the oversoul and who we are in the divine family. There are only different gradations of development among souls. And it has everything to do with where that soul has been and what they've experienced. But here, everything is a mystery. Here, everybody's trying to just figure out what it is and what's going on. In here, everything is restricted. And the best way that the construct could have ever been designed was to steadily promote every single thing that is true as false and everything that is false as true. Because only by this type of constructual programming will an immortal soul be able to figure things out on their own in an environment that is 100% set against them, and yet has the builder protocols necessary to build for that soul anything it needs to do to cope with that type of environment and that type of programming in order to get through. Only the oversoul could have ever thought of such a beautiful concept to actually quarantine whole areas that could be negative, because if God is eternal, then every aspect is eternal. And an eternal God necessarily implies that God is everything. An infinite God means it experiences everything. So there's going to be a place for evil. There's going to be a place for shadow. There's going to be a place for the negative default programming. What better way than to quarantine that negativity into areas of pilgrimage, of passage, so they don't affect the rest of the creation. They only affect those who pass through them. So the other side is going to be something very different than this side. And we're going to have to assume that it's going to have to be the exact opposite of what we experience here. What's here? Headaches, toothaches, disease, and death. What's over there? Immortal souls enjoying whatever time they spend together, sharing the experiences, sharing what happened in here, growing, learning more. And there's probably all kinds of things to learn about the oversoul and the creation. There may be holographic newsrooms that tell them of the discovery of a whole new galaxy over here where the laws of physics are totally weird. You never know because we're inside this construct. We just don't know exactly what's on the other side. But by virtue of spiritual qualities of imagination, we can pretty much ascertain that it's going to be the opposite of what this is. And that necessarily implies that it's going to be awesome. So everything here is the exact opposite of the truth. The healthy foods, the association. There's an association between like education and intelligence. Man, we're saturated with this. The media and establishment, academia, saturate us with this idea that the more educated you are, the more intelligent you are. Well, I can tell you now, there's a whole bunch of buffoons out there that have doctorates. There are a bunch of qualified idiots out there in the field right now who, by virtue of their bachelor's, master's, and doctorates, actually believe that they're more intelligent than other people. Yeah, I've met a few. They really believe that their erudition and their education makes them smarter, when it really just makes them more programmed. Over and over. It's pure programming. They've accepted the programming. There's nothing intelligent about accepting the programming. So yeah, it's just ridiculous. The exact opposite is true. The less educated, the less subject you are to public and establishment education, the more rogue you are. The more rogue you are intelligently. I mean, you just have a rogue intelligence that allows you to go in any direction you want to because you haven't been given these filters. And these filters are created because a multidisciplinary approach to anything is not favored in academia. But in Archaix, we take multidisciplinary approach to everything. We don't, no holds barred. We don't disclude anything. We're going to look at everything from a 360-degree perspective. Doesn't mean we're right all the time, but it does mean we get closer to the point. Especially a whole lot closer than uniformitarians. Everything we've been told is a lie. We look up at the sky and we're told by establishment, man, we can travel to those stars. We can go to moons and Mars. We can do all kinds of things. But the ancients believed it was a glass dome. Yeah, I'm telling you now, it's holographic. But even in the holography, physical things fall from the sky all the time. Charles Fort and William Corliss documented hundreds of them. We're told fallen stars are pieces of rocks. And every once in a while, some scientist, uniformitarian, puts a rock on display and say, that thing there right there fell from space. That right there created a big old hole. That fell from space. Okay, that's good. It's a nice story. But for hundreds of years, when people went to the areas where fallen stars fell, you know what they found? They found two things, and they're very unusual. One is a stinking gelatinous glob of something that gave a fetid smell. People got sick, and it looked just like a fallen star. And people went out to it, and they found this slime all over the ground. I'm not making that up. There are many scientific books that talk about this. This gelatinous goop that's everywhere. And the second thing are thunderstones. And this is very well documented. Fallen stars. They look just like fallen stars, but they give off a clap like thunder, and they are so unusual. Because the thunderstones look like triangular stones, and they're almost always embedded vertically in a tree trunk. What the hell? What in the hell in nature can look down at something hundreds of miles below and actually hit a tree trunk with perfection? That's what we find. Research thunderstones. It'll blow your mind. Blow your mind. A lot of the times, fallen stars are these thunderstones, and they're found embedded in wood, in tree trunks, and they give a huge sound, and they look no different than the fallen stars that are gelatinous globs. Our world is not what you think. Everything we've been told is the exact opposite of the truth. Another good example, I just mentioned the salt domes in the Sahara. Every geologist in the world knows those are salt domes. Jimmy Corsetti is going to tell you it's Atlantis. Yeah, it's just ridiculous. But those are salt domes formed under a body of salt water. What was the Sahara? Why is it so sandy, Jason? Because it used to be an ocean bed. Do we have in the human historical record references to a body of water being there? Yeah, it was called the Sea of Triton. Yeah, it was right there. All North Africa was underwater. Wow, Jason, I'd like to know some more proof of that. Well, I don't really have proof, but Al-Biruni, 1,000 years ago, wrote a travelogue, which is huge. It's about 800 pages. And in there, he said that you can still look up at the Great Pyramid 2/3 of the way up and see a brown-green line across where the ancient ocean level used to be. Yeah, the Great Pyramid used to be called the Altar of Agni, which was also a name for the four faces of Brahma. Four faces of Brahma was sank to the bottom of the ocean for a while. Well, why would the four faces of Brahma need to sink to the bottom of the ocean? I don't know, but it was Abram, which we've identified as Brahma, who was married to Sarah. But in the Vedic, Brahma was married to Saraswati. Do you see the connection here? It was Abram who went by the way of Philistia into Egypt, and Abram taught the priestly colleges the secret numbers of Thoth. There's an Egyptian record that says a man of 110 years old visited Egypt and blew Pharaoh's mind because he knew the secret plans of numbers, and he knew how to decode these inscriptions the Egyptians found. Yeah, I cited that in my book, Lost Scriptures of Giza. Interesting thing enough, Abram was 110 years old in the book of Genesis when he lived in Philistia, Gath. It's the same story. Same story. Abram was the 110-year-old man who visited Egypt and taught them the hieroglyphics. Abram is no different than Brahma. Abram and Saraswati or Brahma and Brahma and Saraswati or Abram and Sarah. It's no different. So I don't even know I'll entertain that tangent. I have no idea why I went there. Talking about the Great Pyramid again. Oh, we're talking about the deserts. Yeah, we're talking about the four faces of Brahma were underwater for a while. Well, we already know. The bottom level of the Great Pyramid was excavated. They found a marine fossil sitting on top of that. Is that proof that it was 10,000, 12,000? No, absolutely not. Fossils can be created very, very fast, very, very rapidly. It's everything we've been told about uniformitarian science about fossils is untrue. And for those who want to have their minds blown about fossils and what's really been found and how it tells a totally different story, I do have a video called The Medusa Effect, how the whole world froze or something like that. My moderators know the video. I can't remember, but it's The Medusa Effect, and I show hundreds of pictures of fossils that simply can't exist by the uniformitarian model, but they do. So everything is the exact opposite of the truth. We are brainwashed to believe all this scientific material, and then the more, and science is supposed to be based off observation and analysis, but it's not. It's all religious because you have to take many things on faith in order to believe them, such as the Archaix structure in the Sahara, which is a series of salt domes, which means it could have been at one time it was one salt dome, which is a salt dome, builds up under pressure, geothermal heat is pushing up from the bottom. It is in a saltwater body of water under pressure, and it builds this dome, and then it cools. The dome stays there. After a while, a bunch of the dome breaks away, but it leaves the base of the dome, a ring. Then another salt dome pops up and leaves a smaller ring. Then a real big one, magma comes out or whatever, or liquid igneous rock comes out, and then it creates a bigger dome, and now you have a bigger perimeter. And over time, it breaks and it goes up. This area must be a flue going deep into the caverns of the world where this pressure is released. It's like a release pressure valve for the world. It gets rid of excess heat. So over a period of time underneath an ocean, these salt domes appear and it leaves these concentric rings and it looks real pretty, but it's huge. It's huge. In other areas of the world, it's just one time that dome is built underwater and it releases a tremendous amount of pressure. And when the pressure is gone and it equalizes, while it's still underwater, it implodes and it forms a perfect little chili bowl. Like Arizona, meteor crater. You're told it's a rock from space. The geological record shows that it is something that came up subterranean, blew it out underwater. And we have these all over the world. But NASA and science is going to tell you the exact opposite of the truth. And they're going to tell you that these giant, perfect bowl-shaped deals are all impacts from meteorites. They're also going to tell you that the world is spinning at 23.5 degree obliquity on an axis inclined toward the ecliptic while it's spinning 24,000 miles per hour while it's moving 66,000 miles per hour around the sun. We have 3 different movements here. And yet, every one of these impact areas are perfect, as if an object just came in and totally resisted everything. It resisted all 27 layers of the atmosphere just to perfectly hit an impact. What we are led to believe is always the exact opposite of the truth. No rocks from space ever made these holes in our world. It's all subterranean. They're just pressure valves, release pressure valves, and they were done when there was oceans there. So it's just crazy. So our perception of reality has always been molded for us, and it's the exact opposite of the truth. And there are thousands of examples, but we're always told we're free. Yeah, land of the free and the brave. How many times have you heard that? Land of the free and the brave. But are you free? Do you have any idea how much your taxes are? Do you call that freedom? And where they go and how they're used against you to poison you and kill you off? Yeah, it's crazy. Are we free? Really? So I talk a lot about, I'm not going to talk about it here, but I'm just going to mention it. Everything here is the exact opposite of the way it should be. And one thing that I use as an example all the time is this predator versus prey ecosphere. It's terrible. It's terrible. That's why kids are so shocked when they're in education and they're watching the animal kingdoms and how they devour each other. How one creature, in order to maintain its sustenance and feed its young, must end the life and violently of another creature. Yeah, and tear it into shreds and feed it to its young. Yeah, we have been programmed to think that Mother Nature is the way things are supposed to be. Everything's natural. But the horror isn't really truly realized unless you fell off your surfboard and the last thing you see are the great white shark's teeth as they take your whole leg off. Nothing natural about that. There's nothing cool about that. The whole predator versus prey ecosphere is programming, and it's horrific. But we've been conditioned to accept it as normal, 100%. Also, I did mention the Medusa effect. So, I mean, everything in the scientific world, we're told it's the exact opposite of the truth. We're told that everything is uniformitarian, everything is evolution, natural selection, everything came from pre-existing life forms, unbroken chain of life from ancient times and now, but it's not true. Or I wouldn't be able to have done that Medusa effect video. How is it that I have in my backyard right now all these living organisms that are found in fossilized, petrified forms from rock strata that is below the Jurassic KT boundary? How is it possible? The iridium boundary, the KT boundary, is what you're told is the Jurassic Triassic period when all the dinosaurs 65 million years ago became extinct. This is what you're told. This is what you're educated to believe. But how is it that the moths, the butterfly, how do you fossilize butterfly wings? I don't know, but I've got pictures of them, and it's not even contested by science. Moths, butterflies, ants, beetles, doodlebugs, bees, bumblebees, wasps, fruit flies, flies, mosquitoes, centipedes, millipedes, scorpions, all different species of arachnids, spiders. I have photos of scientific discoveries of all of these. And they're the exact same species as the ones in my backyard today. But the distance in time between when those were fossilized and the ones I have completely undeveloped, they're still the exact same life forms as the ones found in fossils. Our 65 million year old dinosaurs that emerged, grew up, spread over the world, then were eliminated by an asteroid. That's the story. It's total bullshit. It's ridiculous. And what's further ridiculous is that the photos I show are of fossilized animals fighting each other with their hackles up, gnawing, biting each other. How did they fossilize? How did all these oyster and shell beds, oysters and clam beds, whole beds, how did they fossilize? With the shells closed. Because when they die, they relax, they open up. How do they, as if they're still alive? How do you fossilize a jellyfish? Because I've got hundreds of photos of fossilized jellyfish from all over the world. How do you fossilize a fish giving birth to another fish? How do you fossilize many different submarine, deep sea creatures in the middle of biting or swallowing another creature? How are all these fossils made? Because by the uniformitarian model of the petrification process, none of those would have been petrified. You cannot petrify an invertebrate. How did this happen? By your model. I tell you how it happened. There's only one explanation. Somebody turned the sim off. The entire world flash froze from the highest mountain to the deepest sea, because these are deep sea creatures that are all found fossilized. How is that possible when they were doing all these activities? Octopus, squid, all the little microcelia on different marine creatures fossilized. We have hundreds of examples of whole pieces of fossilized ocean with all the plankton in perfect preservation. Under a microscope, you can see all the plankton. Why? Because it's all petrified. How do you fossilize plankton? Because the whole world flash froze. And then as it thawed out over centuries or over decades, the fossilization process was normal then. Surrounding silicates and minerals replace the soft tissue and sometimes the bone, and it replaced that. But in order to get that perfect preservation in all these different species that were in the middle of doing things like giving birth and eating other creatures and jellyfish, remember, guys, most fossils are not found like the ones you see in textbooks. The ones you see in textbooks are always two-dimensional and flat because they're trying to sell you a hog. Most fossils are found in 3D, and that changes everything. Because their whole bullshit model about silt being laid down in high compression, that's bullshit. Most fossils are in 3D form. The whole plant or creature has been found in perfect 3D preservation, even jellyfish. The whole world froze. We've been told the exact opposite of the truth. Because if the whole world froze, then how did any of those life forms continue when everything was brought back up online? And the only new change was marsupials. And then that world was destroyed. And then, the only new thing that was introduced when they turned the sim back on after that time were human avatars. Were brought in on this sim. It's almost as if sims are nothing but programming. But it's almost as if the programming itself was stopped to introduce new life forms and stop pre-existing life forms that they didn't want in the sim. Then the sim has continued for a little while, maybe a few weeks, but in the programming, it looks like millions of years. So they turn around and turn the sim off, add new life forms. This is what Charles Fort speculated. He's not the only one. Many researchers have speculated it's very unusual how different human races and human types like Cro-Magnon, Magdalenian, Neanderthal, how they just suddenly appeared with no pre-existing life forms, no development period. The whole humans came from hominid shit is bullshit. Yeah, they've been busted with Piltdown Man. It's all crap. It's all bullshit. So pig bones and Yeah. If the scientific world, remember, if something is true somewhere, it's probably true everywhere. So if the scientific world has lied about our past, then and got caught with it, then a whole bunch of things are lies, like all these plaster dinosaurs. Yeah. You can't find the word dinosaur in any book prior to 1892. The word dinosaur is not in any books prior to 1892. Please prove me wrong. Now, listen, guys, everything about the scientific world, everything that is foisted upon us is the exact opposite of the truth. Our histories, our science, everything. It's just not true. So, one of the things about the historical record that we're always told about is, we went from primitive to advanced, but that's not what we find. We're educated to believe that our predecessors 5,000 and 6,000 years ago were very primitive, but this is not what we find. Instead, we find the Antikythera computer. Instead, we find the Baghdad battery. Instead, we find hundreds of practice molds of a technology that we can't even comprehend, that literally 3D excavates and mines the entire things from the sides of granite mountains. How in the hell they had tools that could, the reason people don't understand all these weird molds and pictures like Brian Forster shows is because you're literally looking at what the apparatus left behind. You're not looking at the original item that was excavated. That's why we have upside down staircases all over South America. Nobody made a staircase upside down. No, it's right side up, but the right side up portion was excavated using a technology we can't even fathom today. That's why things look so weird with four things, one thing in the middle and four things in the deal, because you're looking at a table with four seats that was excavated from a solid wall just like that. You're looking at the negative space left behind. You're not looking at the product that they removed. I've given many examples on Twitter and on YouTube that what you're looking at are the negative spaces left behind from the use of a technology that we don't even understand today. But it's like 3D printing, but instead of printing, it was 3D excavation in situ. This is what we had, that technology in the ancient world. It's how they built the Great Pyramid. It's how they built everything in the ancient world. They had access to a technology that was fantastic. And so anyway, I'm meandering. All these things are in my videos on Archaix. You can go back and look at those videos. But we're told everything was primitive. It wasn't primitive. We have the Baghdad battery. We have all kinds of legends and traditions about wars that were done in the sky, flying Vimanas and all. Man, come on. Everything is the exact opposite of the truth. Anybody who's even spent a remedial period of time researching the technolithic exact preciseness of the measurements of the Great Pyramid and the planes and high tolerances will know that we're dealing with the largest machine in the world, and we still don't know what its function is. But the Great Pyramid is a machine. Look at the Grand Gallery. Look at the niches. Every bit of that is engineering. It has a machine function. It is still, in 2025, the largest machine in the world. But in high school and in college, they're going to tell you that it was built to be a pharaoh's burial spot. But the people hated him so much, they actually hid his body somewhere else. Everything that you're told is the exact opposite of the truth. I'm going to end the video there because I could really go on and on and on and on and on and on. That's an hour and 51 minutes. I could just go on and on. I could actually turn this into a whole second video. I could give you examples of quantum entanglement, near-death experiences, mathematical models. Everything shows that we're in a photo negative of a real reality, and from animal behavior to consciousness anomalies. Just the whole field of ancient knowledge, it just shows us everything is the exact opposite of the truth. The whole energy field, ley lines, ancient monuments, what's being discovered with the dolmens and the cromlechs and the trilithons and the megaliths, everything is the exact opposite of what we've been told to believe. Researchers in their independent fields of expertise are finding that the truth is always something far, far different than what we were educated to believe. Everything about NASA, you guys already know NASA's a tax. I talk about it all the time. NASA is a tax. I have little in common with all these people who use NASA data and try to tell us what's going on. Yeah, because using NASA data every single year since 2014, there have been YouTubers talking about, hey man, 2015, it's over with in 2015. NASA shows X flare. Here's an X flare here, solar flare. Mathematical model showed we're going to pass through the. In 2016, it was something. Oh, biggest earthquake in the world. Look at the seismographs. Look what's happening. 2017 comes. Yeah, stop it. Stop it. Every single year, using NASA data. NASA data using doomsayers are always telling us something different. Yeah. Pattern recognition, time anomalies, quantum physics oddities. Guys, the list just goes on and on and on. And I'm going to tell you now, none of these particulars really obtained. They don't really matter to me. I don't really care. I'm just saying that it's all evidence that we live in a construct. I call it the simulacrum. I usually call it the simulacrum. I grow too. But I'm telling you, none of it really obtains. I'm gonna say something here that I said in Las Vegas. I don't remember if this was in private or if this part was videotaped. But I'm going to tell you right now. The Phoenix phenomenon, the dark satellite chronology, the Nemesis X object, world history, resets, mud floods, systemic resets, ancient knowledge and philosophy, comparative religion, comparative mythology, all our research today in geopolitics. One of my favorite topics is basically how the Jews took over the world. Over a 300-year period, they did exactly what they said they were going to do. So I talk about this on Archaix TV a lot. So these people are genius. They're genius at what they do, and but none of it matters. In Vegas, I had a moment where I just got real deep with my listeners, and I just told them, none of this shit matters. None of these conspiracies, nothing you watch on YouTube, even Archaix, nothing I've ever presented really matters. You don't have to learn all this information. If you have a curious intellectual mind and you really want to get into the Archaix data, you're going to be entertained, you're going to be educated, you're going to have some aha moments, but it doesn't effing matter. Nothing matters here. Every bit of this is constructual programming. The only thing real here is you. Everything else here is background programming. And yes, there is an interactive dynamic between souls that are experiencing the same thing. But we're existing in two different realities at the exact same time. One of them is constructual programming, the simulacrum. It is negative default programming. It is full of feedback loops I call dungeon programming. It is on a programmed loop, Genesis to Revelation, whatever you want to call it. And in 2178 in our timeline today, it's going to loop back, and a whole bunch of souls are going to loop back with it because they're not ready for Exodus. They're not ready to go. They're just not. They're going to loop back. Because once you volunteer for one of these experiences, you're stuck here till you get out. So, having said that, nothing in Archaix even matters. The only thing matters is your connection to source, to the oversoul, and what you're going to do with that relationship. Because it's a co-created relationship. That's how you build your own world. And when you exist in two different realities at the same time, it means you have the freedom of going anywhere you want, doing anything you want, being whoever you want to be in the personal, because the highly individualized soul is the other reality. It is the reality connected to source. The avatar is borrowed from the construct, but the immortal within is all you. And the immortal within is also a piece of source. That reality can do anything in this environment despite the negative default programming. That reality can move, do all kinds of things, but that reality is unable to change the world because it goes against the programming. The Oversoul didn't build these constructs for you to change them. Built these constructs so that you will use them. And you will become more than you suppose yourself to be. I gotta stop. I'm just gonna end up ranting. But let's hear from Shanta one more time.
Mystical Fortunes, Mysteries, a YouTube channel where I read tarot cards on archaic subjects such as ancient mysteries. You'll like those ones on Tartaria, hoaxes, conspiracies. I also do auto writing. I do projections. I do readings on current events. I also do personal tarot card readings. I have a mystery school magazine, and it's all at mysticalfortunes.com.
Yeah, man. So Shanta's going to be on the channel again soon. We're going to be talking about patriot pacification agents. You guys know that used to be a subject of my of popularity with me. I've left it alone for the past year, but we're going to get back into it because you know what? Trump's back in office. Is he the man you thought he was? Is he the man? And is he doing the very things that you were saying for 4 years under Biden he was going to do? Let's check it out. Because I know half of the PPP agents are still upset that the galactic feds haven't showed up yet. Yeah, the only feds they know are the ones that are knocking on their doors. Yeah, it's crazy. Whole thing's just so crazy. But yeah, we'll have Shanta on pretty soon and a bunch of other people. You can see her. All her links are in the description box. Check them out. Also, there's a new link in the description box. StreamYard. For those of you who want to start doing what I do, you want to do videos, you want to record videos for whatever reason. You don't have to be a podcaster. You don't have to be a content creator. You don't have to be on YouTube. But StreamYard is awesome. I'm not trying to turn this into a commercial. There is a link because StreamYard's trying to save you money. So there is a link in the description box. For those of us who use StreamYard, StreamYard has started just automatically putting the link in the description box. It's there. If you click onto it and you start a StreamYard account, you'll find you can record your own videos, you can record audio files, you can do all this kind of stuff. I love StreamYard. It's the only one I use. Martin Leakey turned me on to it. And I think they give you $10 off or something. I don't remember. But if you use the link that's here, instead of just getting on the StreamYard yourself and trying to figure out, they take some off of it. I can't remember. But like I said, I don't advertise for StreamYard, and I just really like the I really like the setup. I'm able to do a lot with it. So I believe the day after tomorrow is Q&A. It may be a podcast, but I believe it's Q&A. We'll see. Until then, dudes, I love you guys. Sorry I got a little fucking in my feelings, man, in the beginning of the video. I just had to get some shit off my chest. But other than that, I think we rode pretty good. You know, we're all human. And by human, I mean we're all immortals. There's just a whole bunch of us that needs a lot more convincing.